Welcome back. You are with your host, Alpha Mama, and this is a Whitecracker production. We are up to episode 13, and today we are going to be talking about letting go. So today's been a really big day in the world. So the US elections were decided today. Donald Trump is out. What a miracle in some regard, I suppose. I mean, it's just what was meant to be, I guess. Joe Biden is in, and the Vice President, Kamala Harris. Can you imagine a woman of Indian descent as Vice President of the United States of America? What a stark contrast to the Trump dictatorship institution regime, right? So I watched her acceptance speech earlier today and just welled up with tears. She honoured the women of diversity that had laboured and come before her to provide a platform and an opportunity for her to be in that position. It's powerful, and it's palpable, and it's validating. As a woman, and as a human being, to see someone like you and so bubbly and positive and in such a high position of power, to know that my children should be, and if I have more, that is, should be fortunate to grow up in a world seeing diversity in leadership as a norm. It only takes a couple of generations to create change, and this is really, an inspiring moment to see some of those shifts occurring in the world. And I guess, it starts with letting go of outdated and irrelevant perspectives that no longer serve their purpose, and instead educate and create a new space or open up space for ideas that work and are relevant in the modern context. And yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. So it's been a big week for me, stepping into a new life, a life that I'm creating for myself. And part of that process has been releasing things that aren't working anymore, and letting go of ideas and limiting beliefs that have been holding me back for far too long. In particular, most relevant for me, letting go of my lack of self-worth is a really big one for me. It's something that I've always suffered with in my life. And a lack of confidence and a lack of self-belief, and instead creating a space and stepping into the opportunities to grow and to cultivate who I am and what I'm all about, and not be held prisoner by negative belief systems that no longer serve me on my journey, and letting go of connections and spaces that aren't serving or nurturing me any longer. So this week I've drawn on notes from chapter 6 of The Secrets of Six-Figure Women. I think it's a timely reminder when we have so many amazing female leaders in the world, like kick-ass navigating their way through disaster and crisis. It's just a reminder to all women everywhere, and men, but women, that, hey, you've got this, and you have everything within you that you need to succeed at your life, to be financially independent, to nurture and cultivate your purpose and your contribution in this life and in society, and to own your power. Because the reality is women are 50% of the population, roughly speaking, and the reason why we earn so much less, why we're 80% more likely than men to retire in poverty, why we are the primary victims of domestic violence, why we are so oppressed, is that deep down inside we don't know or own our value. there is a narrative out there that suggests women are victims and gender equality is about someone giving us equality. But the truth is, equality starts in the mind. And in order for us to be equals, we need to first believe that we are equals and let go of any notion or misguided belief within that you are less than or less worthy of than men are. Women get paid less because we ask for less money. Women are in poverty because we give our labour away for free. We don't value ourselves and demand the value to be honoured. We give our time away for free. When we give our time away for free, people always take. And when we don't demand adequate compensation for our labour, then the work we do is not going to be recognised as valuable. Now, I could happily bang on about how, the fundamental source of the problem is actually the fact that we value money as a primary indicator of value in our society. But I feel like that's futile to a large degree. Money is a human construct, and in order to be wealthy tangibly, you must first believe that you are valuable of that wealth in your mind. So Barbara Stanny quotes Carl Jung in her book, better to come, good must stand aside. So it's one of her 6 secrets of financial wealth, letting go. And the principle is rooted in, this idea that you must let go of where you are to get where you want to go. And it's not easy, of course, because when we let go of what we know, we feel fear and anxiety. But in order to take yourself to the next level, you have to recognize the necessity of fear and anxiety as part of the process and sit with it until it eases. Stanny notes in her book, I have never met an under-earner who isn't blocking herself with some misguided thinking or erroneous notions. Letting go of our mental molds is the crucial challenge for each of us on the path to higher earnings, even if the ledge we cling to is an external situation. There's always an internal authority governing our decisions, a belief or an attitude that is putting us down, holding us back, or keeping us hanging. And I know that I have definitely suffered from, this sort of under-earner mentality in the past. And, that's been reflected in my quality of relationships and my quality of standing. And, so it is interesting because it is all connected, and it does seem to really shift a lot as you start letting go of these limiting beliefs that you hold within your mind. So letting go, she says, often leaves us feeling volatile, vulnerable and fragile. Rather than embracing change, we find all sorts of excuses for why we should hang on to ledges as crutches. And I know I have definitely had my issues with this in my life. So given the choice between changing and proving there's no need to do so, almost everyone will get busy on the proof. Perhaps it's why many of us need to have our fingers pried loose before we let go. That's a quote from John Galbraith. And many of us will have to be pushed before we're ready to fly, no matter how bad things get. And, I think, for me, most recently, being made redundant was definitely a push. And I knew instantly that it was the best push in the world. And I was so grateful for that opportunity. But for some reason, until I was forced into it, I was sort of still clinging to this notion that I was more secure, working for someone else, or just everything was easy and I wanted to keep the status quo instead of stepping out onto a limb and, taking a risk when I had sufficient opportunity to do that. So I've definitely had that experience myself. So when generally when we should be releasing, we find ourselves resisting. Resistance is normal, and what she suggests is a key strategy for overcoming resistance is to listen to our intuitive yearnings rather than our preconceived notions of what's practical or reasonable. So being overly realistic or inordinately logical can be as much of a liability as low self-esteem. Now, I really like this because it speaks to feminine power and the feminine divine. You know, these highly successful women that she's interviewed in this book have followed their guts, their intuition, despite logic, despite what the narrative might be that's going on around them. And as Napoleon Hill says, and that's the author of Think and Grow Rich, the number one reason why people fail in life is because they listen to their friends, their families, and their neighbours. Sometimes you just have to allow your inner voice to guide you, even if it doesn't always make a lot of sense or seem logical. What holds a lot of women back is worrying about what everyone else would think and worrying about being a good woman. One recommendation Stani notes in her book is to ask yourself the question, if I wasn't concerned with everyone else's opinion, what would I want to do? I think personally that this is a very important question because often we tend to worry far too much about pleasing others, and the hard, brutal, honest truth is others don't live your life. You do. And if you follow your intuition and you end up happy, living the life of your dreams, succeeding well, what does that have to do with anyone else anyhow? If they are people, if they're your people, then they'll be happy for you and for all of your successes. So I think that part of letting go in Stani's book suggests similar strategies to Think and Grow Rich. You know, one of the first steps she suggests is, or from her interviews, is to get really clear about what your intention is, and then keep the intention at the forefront of your mind at all times. So where do you want to be specifically? Why do you want that? Creating a crystal clear intention or a picture of what that looks like and why you're doing that, knowing your why, knowing your trigger, I guess, of what's going to motivate you towards that intention. And then the next step is intense determination. So, I mean, she suggests that basically intense determination is a byproduct of having a really clear intention. And then identifying what you don't need anymore. And she suggests these questions, which I'll put in the blog this week. And she also suggests when you respond to them, so to be brutally honest and highly sensitive to your first intuitive response, and then write down and reflect on that, what that's telling you. So the first one is, what do I need in my life for me to feel deeply satisfied? What do I know? Number two, what do I know in my heart is keeping me from feeling fully satisfied and successful? Number three, what situations, relationships, beliefs, attitudes, thoughts, feelings, choices have I made that are no longer serving me? And finally, if I had a year to live, where would I be? Who would I be with? And what would I be doing? And then what she then suggests is replacing negative affirmations with positive ones. So she refers to a book, Money is My Friend, which describes the earning law, which says, all wealth is created by the human mind. Increasing your wealth is a matter of increasing the quality of your thoughts. So that's a really good one. So paying close attention to what we're actually allowing into our mind, and what quality thoughts are we thinking, and what quality of words are we speaking to ourselves in our internal dialogue. I think that's really important. I know I've definitely been working on shifting all of that in my own life. Recognizing that fear and anxiety have a purpose, that they're there to prepare our body for performance and to stimulate us to find new ways of solving problems. And then finally, you have to believe that you can do it, visualize it, affirm it, and then let it go. You have to be unattached, release it into the universe, and you have to believe in it and literally just let it go. You know, leave it up to the universe. So I like that. That's something I've definitely always practiced in my life, actually, you know, due to the sort of childhood that I grew up in. And I can say it definitely has, in my experience so far, often worked, which has been amazing, usually in ways that you don't quite anticipate. But you know, I've often looked back 6 months and gone, wow, actually I had this intention, and then that's just somehow worked out. It's amazing. And I wasn't ever attached to the outcome. So these are all strategies that have been tried and tested, have been used by these highly successful people for manifesting or leveling up themselves through getting a grasp on how to improve their thought patterns, and in order to achieve success as defined by them. And then finally, recognizing that all changes start with an ending. So there's a T.S. Eliot quote, "The end is where we start from." So there have been a lot of endings in my life lately, recently, and in the wake of that is space. Creating space for new and better opportunities that are more aligned with where I'm going. And the thing is, if we don't create the space for the opportunity to arise in our lives, we may miss the opportunities that come our way altogether. So I guess basically what I'm inviting you to think about this week is, what does equality look like in your life? Not even that. What is your ultimate intention in life? And what do you need to let go of to create a space for that to manifest in your world? You know, for me, as I mentioned earlier, I'm letting go of a lack of self-worth, of living in a space of deprivation, of any belief I hold that does not allow me to have an amazing life, an amazing, loving, nurturing relationship, deep and meaningful friendships, and a brilliant career. We all have something to bring to the table. We are here to share ourselves with others, to enjoy being alive, to relish in each other's company and inspire each other and ourselves. So enjoy who you are and what you bring to the table, and don't hide or hold back. And if you're not sure, you need to let go of that belief or that lack of confidence. And because, you know, at the end of the day, it's just a thought and it's holding you back. So yeah, that is Alpha Mama for this week. So I'm hoping to arrange an interview with one of my very own six-figure women for next week, and see what further insights that she can share with us. Until then, thank you for coming on board this week and listening to the show. I've really enjoyed having you on board, and I will have a great week. See you next week. Over and out.